Look, we had a good practice today. I think everybody, really still has a heavy heart in terms of what's going on with Damar Hamlin fighting for his life in Cincinnati. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers of our entire organization are with him, his family, the Bills, really the entire football league. What our guys go through and what they put their bodies through to play this game and to chase their dreams is, really important. And when you see something like this, it just reminds you how fragile life is, and it reminds you that, everybody that's involved in this is, although there's a lot that goes into this game, we're all humans here, and I think that's where our thoughts should be.
Dennis, what's sort of your message to your team this week having to deal with all
Yeah, look, I mean, it's difficult. Guys handle these situations in differing ways, and we opened up our team meeting with our psychologist, Dr. Lana Chambliss. She spoke to the team just a little bit, and we just wanted to make sure that our guys knew that there was resources available to help them, cope through this.
How important is it to maybe, not that you want to force anybody to talk to somebody, but to understand that it's good to maybe discuss this and talk to somebody?
Yeah, look, I think talking to these guys this morning and said, us as men and probably particularly, football players and big, tough, strong, it's okay to admit if you need a little bit of help. And so I just think it's important to have those resources available for guys that want to be able to utilize that.
Dennis, have you, nothing to the extent that Damar, what happened on Monday, but have you been in a situation like that? Where a player or someone's status because of an injury was unknown, and then it was just hard for to continue?
Yeah, I don't know that I've been a part of that in a game. I was a part of James Glenn was a kicker at A&M when I was there playing, and he was out prior to practice, warming up and died on the field, and so I've seen it firsthand and how that affects people, individuals, teams, and it's tough to deal with.
It's been like you've seen just the response kind of around the league, kind of rallying.
Yeah, I think it just shows what a fraternity that this is. Again, people that don't do what these guys do really can't understand. You're putting yourself in harm's way, chasing your dreams on, every time you go out there on the field, and so I just think that that bond that particularly players have with each other is really special and important.
Do you reach out? I mean, maybe not yet, but at some point, I don't know if you have a relationship with McDermott or anybody like that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm sure that everybody that's involved in this is dealing with a lot, and so I just reached out via text to Sean and just let him know that, myself, our entire organization is thinking about him.
Just today at practice, Dennis, did you see any of the players? I mean, after you had talked, did you see any sense of them being distracted by?
No, look,
that?
I mean, I think one of the things about this game and football in general is, when you get out there and you get a chance to get out there and practice, it gives you an opportunity to kind of put behind you some things that, may be troubling you off the field, whether it be this situation or any other situation. It's kind of a safe haven for players to get back to a little bit of normalcy. So, I thought our guys, focused in on the plan and getting themselves ready to play a game.
Sorry, Ryan.
There's an obvious answer here, but with the schedule, did y'all come together at all yesterday, or was that kind of time for everyone?
No, it was really time for everybody to kind of process it on their own. We figured this morning would be a good time to address it with the team, and feel like we did that, and again, like I said, we've got resources available for anybody that needs them.
What happened at A&M? Did that stick with you for a long time?
Yeah, I think it still sticks with you to this day. I mean, look, anytime you have somebody that's, especially, a young guy, that in every other sense you would expect that's fully healthy, and to see something like that happen is it's hard to deal with, and it's tough, and I know what kind of effect it had on our team, and so I can only imagine the guys that were on the field at that point in time, how that emotionally affects them.
And as far as you know, if any of your players have a relationship with DeMar as far as Mr.
Lucas Kroll knew him, and I had a chance to visit with him a little bit yesterday. And he was kind of, had some communication and some information on how he was doing, and so I haven't heard any updates lately. But again, really the best that we can do right now is try to lift him up in prayer, and pray for him and his family, and again, all the Bills organization and really the entire NFL players.
I know, I think your son's a freshman in college, so he's not that much younger than DeMar. I know you deal with it from a football perspective, but somebody who's got kids around that
Look,
age.
I think anytime you see something like this in a situation like this, it really puts life in perspective. And I think most of us, not all of us, but I think most of us, have kids and realize that, these are young men, but yet they're still somebody's brother, somebody's son, somebody's husband. And so look, life is fragile, and it really puts everything into perspective when you see something like this happen, and it's hard.
And so I'm just gonna ask one football question outside of this. How big is it for this team to finish with 4 straight wins and close out this kind of little run that you guys are doing?
Yeah, look, I think it's big for our team. I think it's important. We said, again, during the bye week that, we didn't control our playoff fate. That didn't work out. But what we did control is how we finished out this season. And we said that our goal was to go 4-0. We've accomplished 3 out of those 4. We got one more opportunity. And so that's what you do as a pro, is you go out there and you compete to win the game. And that's fully what I anticipate and what I expect our team to do.
And so what do you think the Bills' defensive numbers over the last 8 or 9 games have been really, really strong? Why do you think things kind of started coming together?
Look, I think we've taken advantage of some opportunities. I think we've executed better. I think as some guys have began to, come back and get healthy, I think that's helped us. I think we've had some young guys that hadn't had a lot of opportunities prior have really stepped up and played well. And so I just think it's part of the group, coming together and gelling together. And I think there's a lot of factors that kind of went into why we weren't quite able to do that as earlier in the season like we would have liked. But again, like I said the other day, I mean, there's a fundamental philosophy of how we want to play defense, and it's been proven to be successful in our league. And I think again, it's kind of taken that turn.
This may not be at all related to it. Did it take a while for you to figure out what you call a defensive plays?
I think I think there's a lot of factors. I think maybe it was Monday that I'm in a different role. A lot of my assistant coaches are in a different role. We brought some new guys into the system. We dealt with a lot of injuries and a lot of interchanging parts earlier in the year, and so I think there's a lot of those factors that go involved in it.
Did any of the players have reservations about playing, given kind of what happened?
Not to my knowledge, but that hasn't been a specific question that I've, gone to each player and asked that question,
Are you guys going to do anything as a team, or is it going to be based on players individually? Are they going to honor him on Sunday? Or
We haven't discussed that yet.
Anything else?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Maybe I'll just start off by, maybe you might have been one of the first players to kind of donate to Mars Foundation. Why was that something that you wanted to do? Why was that important to you specifically?
I think this has been something that I have personally been affected by, especially with it happening to a Bills player, the Bills fan base, and just a lot of people that support Buffalo have donated to my foundation through a win. Now this is something completely different. This is a tragedy that something happened, and so one way to show our support is we wanted to give back. I mean, in the way that we can, and I think the outpouring of support that not only he has received from people in the NFL, his family has received, it's just from, really the entire country. Shows that this is so much bigger than the game of football and the impact that football can have on so many different communities, so many different lives. And so that's just a small thing that we can do during this time, is just to show our support that our prayers are with him and his family. And that's not one thing that we just say. Our thoughts and prayers is a word and term that a lot of people use. But the power of prayer is real. And I know one thing for my family, me, JJ, even my kids, we've been on our knees praying for his health and praying for him and his family, the Bills organization, everybody in Cincinnati, and so many people that were involved with this thing. And so the donation is small, but we're really thinking about him and praying that he's going to push through with everything.
What was you and JJ's initial reaction when you saw it just start climbing into the millions? As you said, obviously it very personally affected you guys a few years ago. Kind of shows how, awesome the community can be.
Right. I think then that's one thing. For when it happened to us, it started off as a small increments. The next thing you know, it was thousands of dollars, and then it got into tens of thousands of dollars, into hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that was for us to see this thing get to in the millions and continue to grow. I think it's something that just shows that there's so many people that want to support and love on him and his family and everything that they're doing.
I know that Dennis said that you brought in, a psychologist or a doctor today. As a veteran player, how important is that? And you can tell maybe younger players if you want somebody to talk to, because there is the persona of tough guys in football, but I think everybody needs somebody to maybe discuss things with.
Yeah, I think as men and playing this game, like you said, it's like everybody wants to be tough, but I think the most important thing is to be vulnerable. And if you're feeling something, let people know and get help if you need it. And so, there's so many resources that we have, so many people that are here to help. And so that's one way to help those that could be struggling through this time.
How do you kind of just process the fragility, when you see something like that?
You never want to see it get to that point. We know the risks that we take playing this game. But when you see a life and death situation during this game, it makes you take a step back and think about everything. I think it's something that everybody can do. Obviously, it's a freak accident that nobody expects going to happen. But I think one thing that it's done, I think everybody sees the humanity in this game of the players and what, the unfortunate possibility of what can happen with playing this game.
And how tough was practice today? Just
Yeah, it's part of it. And I think that's one reason why we brought in the clinician, just to help, with anybody that needs that going into this. And so, I feel like we did the best we could today.
Maybe you were on the field when Ryan Shazier got hurt, and I know that's its own special situation, but is it hard to compartmentalize and immediately go back to playing the game? I know you've been on the field many times when a player's been injured, and then this is its own separate thing, but has it ever just been hard to just turn your brain off and just keep going, I guess?
Yeah, that was the first thing that I thought of in that situation was, witnessing the Ryan Shazier situation. And I think the hardest part is just the unknown for everybody. Even being on the other side of it, not a teammate, a guy you're going against, but a guy you respect and plays the game the way that he did, to see him get hurt and not know what's coming from that. I think it takes everybody a moment to sit back and pause and think about it. It is hard to get right back into playing again.
A couple people were saying that seeing a player give a thumbs up or just anything as they leave the field is always kind of helpful. Obviously, Ryan wasn't able to do that, and DeMar wasn't either. Does that change anything? Like, okay, that they're hurt, but they're okay, and that helps us be able to go back.
Yeah, I even think you go back to our game with Sweat got hurt. The first thing you're looking at is, okay, is he moving? Can I get any sign that he's going to be all right? And so, not that you can always count on that, but it definitely does give you a little bit of, hope that everything's going to be all right.
So how do you feel about playing this weekend and the idea that's been floated that maybe they'll just delay everything by 1 week?
Yeah, it's one of those things where that's how everybody's going to have to come together and talk through it all. But I think for most guys, we're going to lean on each other and go from there.
Are you okay answering some TCU questions?
Yeah.
Sorry to change the subject on that, but I was wondering if you could comment on your recollection of how 2010 changed the expectations and the trajectory of TCU, what you remember from that, expectations going in, expectations coming out, and how it's all kind of led, to where they are now.
Yeah, I think when talking about my time at TCU, I think what really set us up is the year before, in 2009. We went undefeated that year, and then first chance to get to play in a BCS bowl game, and we played in the Fiesta Bowl, but didn't end up winning that game. But just for us to get to that point where we were considered for a BCS game was big, and then to go the next year and go undefeated in the regular season as well, and then with the crazy chances of us ending up in the Rose Bowl and then getting to win that game, I think that those 2 seasons really set the standard of what TCU could be, and then allowed us to get into the Big 12. And once we got in the Big 12, you've got a chance. You're in a Power 5 conference and everything. So I think what we were able to accomplish kind of towards the end of my career kind of set us up to get to this point where we're able to not only play in the college football playoffs, but compete for a national championship. And to see where the program's gone from where it started even years before I got there to where it is now, yeah, I mean, it's definitely headed in the right direction.
In what ways does it look different when you, like, if you go back and visit, in what ways does it look different now from when you remember when you were a player? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of facility changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think every facility is different than when I was there. After my last game, my senior year, they tore down the stadium, so the stadium's completely new, and they're only improving all the facilities. So, I mean, it's a different place.
Ready to go to the game?
I'm gonna do my best to get there.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.